2002, I stayed at home because there was no funds. So I stayed at home, still assisting my grandmother, raising the other kids. And I applied for bursaries, still nothing came. And 2003, I continued applying for bursaries. And I also attended a pre-nursing course at the time. So, but as a young person, I mean, the second year at home without going to school, I was starting to lose hope, to be honest. And I thought, let me start looking for a job. But I also started applying for bursaries in engineering because I wanted to make money and leave home and be independent. But I applied for those bursaries, still no luck, so I started looking for a job. But one of the day, my sister saw a bursary. It was a transferred bursary. She sent me the address. I didn't know even what I was applying for. She sent me the address, but I didn't want to disappoint her. So I applied. I posted the application form to Devin. And somewhere in the middle of the year, they called me for the bursary, for the interview. Luckily, I was in Joburg at the time. So I went for the interview and I continued with my life. From the interview of the bursary towards December, I found a job. So I was excited because I knew then that I could study with UNISA maybe the following year. My first job, I was working at Shell Garage and I was earning 80 Rand a day. So I was working 3 times a week. So I was very excited. For me, 80 Rand was a lot of money. It would be 240 a week. And so I was very excited and I was going to save money. But I think God's ways are really that. So when I started working, they called me and tell me that I got the bursary, then I was going to study the following year. Because I knew going home, the network was going to be an issue. I stayed in Joburg that year for Christmas because I did not want to miss the details about going to Durban. But for some weird reason, they contacted me, but they couldn't get hold of me. I don't know why, because I had the phone with me all the time. But luckily, they called one of the references, which was my teacher, and she told my family. Then I contacted the people in Durban. That's how my maritime journey started. I think Rachel has covered a lot of it. So 2004, then I went to school. But what I want to cover in my journey is the lessons that I have learned. Because at the time when I went to school, for me, it was really a life and death situation. I did not want to go back home. So as a bursary student, you know, if you don't pass, there is a big possibility of you losing the bursary. So for me, my life was very simple at school. I would read, eat, sleep. That is the only things I did. I stopped watching TV. And Sundays, then we had a church, a full gospel church next to our rest. I would just go there for an hour. I did not even want to go to church for more than 2 hours. That's how simple my life was. I studied every single day and it paid off because at the end of that semester, I passed all my subjects and I got over 75, my average was over 75%. And the following semester was also the same. So I know that as kids, we have different backgrounds. When you go to school, there is a lot of options. I think let's just remember why we are doing what we need to do. So when you are there, it is only a year to 4 years for most people. You're going to have a lot of life after school. And when you're working, and you'll have a lot of options to just enjoy your life. So that is what I would just like to encourage you. And as part of my journey, because I went to C until 2007 when I came back to PE, I mean, I only had S2 as my highest qualification. So when I went back to PE, I decided, let me start studying. I started working and training, but also studying part-time. I then did my BCom. In the beginning, it was easy because I was just a young person studying and working. I had nothing to do. But over time, it became difficult when one becomes the parent. So in the beginning, I mean, first year, I remember doing 8 subjects, passing them well. But as time goes, I realized that working at night and then coming back in the morning to write exam, it is no longer that easy. So towards the end, I had to take leave, be at Unisa in the library, studying the whole day so that I can also pass and complete my qualification. So let's just dedicate ourselves, like hard work never kills anyone. So I would just like to encourage anyone, exam time, sacrifice certain stuff and focus on your schoolwork, and I promise you it will pay off. So for me, those are some of the lessons that I've learned, that education is so important. Now I do not have to go and study, but I also still invest in studying. I invest in reading. I believe in both formal and informal education. And now I'm also being introduced to the coaching world, because sometimes you cannot grow further than what you know. So it is important to find somebody that can help you become the best version of yourself. And as a leader, guys, I think when you come from the background that I'm coming from and you start achieving certain stuff and earning reasonable salaries, I have learned to always become humble, because they always say pride comes before a fall. So it is important to always remember, to always be humble. If not, life will teach you. And I'm also grateful for those lessons in life that teaches and remind us to be humble. And that is just what I would like to share. And as leaders, what also keeps us humble is that title, positions, they're always there, guys. And sometimes I would say you get to a boardroom and people are starting to offer you certain stuff, and it's good. Like, I mean, people wanting to serve you, but I think the basic and the importance of leadership will always be to be a servant. So that is just my plea, and that is one of the lessons that I've learned. I want to be a serving leader, never somebody who's going to be excited about titles and positions. And yeah, I also know that as you get older, as much as you succeed, you're also going to fail. And everybody fails, but it's how you view your failures. It is important then to learn from your failures instead of seeing them as excuses. We all fail, just review and also learn from them. And the other thing I've learned is that I've been fortunate because I guess I grew up in a different background from home, a proper supporting environment. You go to school, you're all bursary students, so all you're doing is study and study and study. But now I've also learned that as an adult, it is important to choose friends that have the same mission and values with you. I think Les Brown always says only quality people in your life, because either way, it's either you influence them or you're learning from them. And they always say, sometimes check the people that you spend time with. After leaving, do you feel energized or do you feel drained? So those are some of the things that we need to look for, because they say if you spend time with people that are successful, you're going to be the next successful person. So it is important to just to check your circle most of the time. So for me, I have been fortunate, but now as an adult, I'm also learning to choose those circles. And I really want to commend everybody, like the teams that have joined here. You're fortunate to have a platform like this, but you also made a choice to be here. So I know that if you continue making this type of choices, you have no choice but to succeed in life. For me to share my maritime journey, I thought it would be important to share the pictures, because if maybe one has not been exposed to the sea and the ship's environment, it might be difficult to understand some of the concepts, but that is why I'm sharing this. I wanted to share some few interesting facts. Do you know that over 90% of cargo is transported by sea? and that South Africa also has over 3,500 kilometers of the coastline. And I think that's why recently we had the buzzwords like Operation Paikisa. So I'm saying my journey is not the only opportunity in the maritime space. So you can check and find out what other opportunities are there for yourself. So that is what I wanted to just share with you. And then we have also 8 ports in South Africa. What is a Harbour Master? A Harbour Master is a person who is in charge of the port that he or she is managing. So you are overall responsible for the movement of vessel within the port. I'm not always, like now the port is operating, but I'm not there. But the responsibility still lies with the person. So I will share some of this, which is the vessel VTS, pilotage, and lighthouse services. What do they do? Because that is, as a Harbour Master, at some point you need to be a pilot before you get appointed for that position. So vessel traffic services, in most ports, you always have this nice tall building. We call them vessel traffic services or port control. What they do is they manage the movement of vessels. They are the ones who give instruction to vessels to come to the port or stay outside. They manage incidents in the port and also outside. So if there is a vessel in distress, the ship will call port control, or they will call it's an emergency channel. But these are the people that will then dispatch resources to the ship. The picture that you see there, it is just a typical picture of how it looks like. They have radars, they have radios, phones. During the day, they can see the ship visually, but they rely heavily on the screens that are there. So there is also a training that they are offered so that they understand how everything else works. The second part that I wanted to share with you is the pilot. In South Africa, pilotage is compulsory. So when a ship like this comes, they go to an area called a pilot boarding station. You'll have the smaller boat that you see in front will go outside, and the pilot will then move from the pilot boat onto the vessel using the pilot ladder. You will have tugs. I'm sure we see smaller boats normally in the ports. Those are what we call tug boats. The pilot uses those tugs to turn the ship in confined spaces. So overall, that is the role of a pilot. The next picture, it just shares, we see on the left where a pilot is going from the ship onto the tug, onto the pilot boat using the ladder. So I thought I should just share the pictures so that you can see how it is done. But on the right side, it shows that how the pilot does his work. He gets assistance from the captain on the ship, their officers, and there's also somebody who is steering the ship, which is called the helmsman. I think most of the time people, when I was a pilot, they would ask, are you the one driving the ship? And most of the time we say yes, but you don't. You give instructions for the person who is driving to carry those. So that is the role of a pilot in a nutshell. But one of the responsibility of a Harbour Master, we see in most ports, whether in Cape Town, Mucha, have a lot of this. The lighthouse on the left, on the right is a buoy. So these are what we call navigational aids. So part of my role is to make sure that they are maintained. These are, they assist the mariners or the ships when they're coming closer and giving them warning if they're different colors and lights. So they give warning, some of them, they also assist them with making sure, like position-wise, they know where they are. So they use these lighthouses as to plot their positions. So these are the lighthouses. But the next part, I wanted to just share some of the challenges throughout the journey. When I did my training well, for me, it was both studies and training, because in Limpopo, there's no coast. So I had to be away from home for a long time. But when you're on the ship, back then, if you wanted to call it was a satellite phone, and it was very expensive because you paid in dollars, and our allowance on the ship was like $70. So most of us prefer to go shopping than calling home. But then you're at home, you're away from home for 3 to 5 months, and then you come back home for a good like a month to 2 months. So it was one of those. It was a challenge, but for a young person, for me, it was fun. It was good. I enjoyed it. And the other one, we know the maritime industry then, even it was more male orientated. It was mostly males, and also few Black people at the time. So sometimes you'd find that you're only female on board. So if it was an adjustment for most people, but I guess at school you would be told about these things. But those are some of the stuff that I'm sharing them, so that if you choose a career in maritime, then you are prepared for what is coming. And also pregnancy it's one of the challenge, because if you fall pregnant, then you have to be taken out of operation straight. So for certain companies, they will then maybe cancel the contract because you're not allowed to fall pregnant. But it'll just, for those that are not, then it'll just slow you down. You just have to wait for a year or so before you go back to operation. Because for me, when I was pregnant, I was a pilot at the time, then I just had to wait for another year. I mean, depending with where you are. For adults, I mean, for teens, I would not encourage you to be pregnant, but if it happens, it will slow your training down. And some of the challenges, weather conditions, in the beginning, or if you're on a smaller ship, you will be seasick. And for a pilot, it also just add additional challenges for you if you find yourself doing a job and the wind increases. So those are some of the challenges that one needs to be aware of. And also the growing size of ships. When I started in PE, the biggest ship we were handling was 258 meters. But by the time I left, we had done the 345 meters. So those are stuff that will happen. But so it shows that in life, one has never really arrived. You must always be learning to be able to handle some of these challenges. As I'm growing as a leader, guys, leadership for me is, I love leadership and I love learning about it. But I have also saw that how one leads is a reflection of self. So I am learning that it is important to lead yourself first so that you can lead others. Because I think leadership is like parenting. It is no longer about you. So it is important that you take care of yourself so that you'll be able to take care of others, especially those people that God has trusted you with. And the incident, this is one of the incidents that happened around my time when I was working, where a fishing boat ran aground in Boardwalk, just outside of Boardwalk. So incidents are normal, and you'll be forced then to think on your feet and be quicker. So over time, the more you handle these things, obviously you get better, but at the same time, you must always learn so that you can respond better in incidents. And like any other story, there can only be bad stuff, but there are also good things. And for me, some of my highlights, it has been docking one of the passenger ship called the Queen Mary 2. It is 345 meters long in the port of PE. So it was one of the highlights. And the other one was being nominated as the inspirational leader. So that is the picture you see on the right. So it has been a journey. I started as a 20-year-old, and now I'm 37. So you can see how just life evolves. And some of these things, I mean, for a person who just wanted to be a doctor, work and just improve her life. And now life changes. So now you get people start recognizing you, and it means then they say with great power comes great responsibility. So one then has to learn and evolve so that whatever responsibility you're entrusted with, you carry it well. And the highlights also, it includes traveling around the world. When you're on a ship, my first ship used to go from South Africa, Mauritius, Singapore, and China, that side. The second one, it was mostly around Dubai. And the third one, it was around the European coast. So you have that opportunity to travel while working. So you don't really pay for it. So those are some of the amazing opportunities. But it doesn't mean you'll go out all the time. Like I've been to the ship I was with have been to Mauritius 6 times. And every time when I was there, it's either it was at night or I was working. So I've never really had the advantage of going outside and seeing how Mauritius looked like. But in other ports, I've had a lot of those opportunities. Like Dubai was one of my best. I was always there, like going out most of the time. And so those are some of the opportunities that one gets. And you also learn to be independent because you're far away from home, you have money that you need to manage. So, and you also have to take care of yourself. There's no parent that will remind you to do something else for yourself. You do your own laundry. So those are some of the good opportunities. But the nice part, you have a chef. I mean, the ship has a chef, so you don't have to cook. So, wash the dishes. So that's the good part of it. And the learning opportunities that I have been granted, all the studies that have been mentioned, I mean, my company did pay for them. I only paid for my BCom studies. So there are a lot of good opportunities, the formal learning, but also you learn from other people, you learn from different cultures that you work with. So those are some of the amazing opportunities I've had. And you meet new people. I think I would like to believe I'm very quiet, and I am an introvert, but for a person who is quiet, I believe I have a lot of friends. And this is as a result of my work in the traveling that one is given. I started like in 2004, as I'm saying, and at the time, females were very few because there was only one Harbour Master, as I remember. So when we started, there was a lot of the first female pilot, first female deputy Harbour Master, Harbour Master was there. So there was a lot of first and breaking the ceiling when we started. But now I think things have changed. So it's no longer about breaking any ceiling, but it's also the importance of making sure that you're not the only lady. So for me, again, it talks about mentoring and coaching other people and making sure that they can also achieve what we have achieved, because honestly, it was not meant for me or the few that are there. So it is one of those important things that I believe as females also, we need to also be playing part in mentoring others. The picture that I've shared in the beginning, also, it was the SA Agalas trip. There was a time in 2010 when they had an all-female trip. So that was one of my highlights, and we had lots of fun. The people that we've studied with and some that we have met at sea and worked with, now we are all in one ship. We're having fun, but it was also just showing the country and the industry at large that South Africa has come a long way. I've mentioned the last two as part of the highlights on the picture that you have seen. I've shared both the good and the challenges in my journey. And as they say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. I think today you are seeing the woman that I am as a result of all the good and the challenges that I have shared. And we are all going to have some challenges every now and here. Just remember, they are happening for you, not to you, but for you. So learn, and it will shape the person that you are one day. You will look back and smile and say, God has carried you through it. But now you will start seeing challenges differently. Yes, it is not, I mean, we are human beings, so it is not going to be a comfortable process going through anything, but it will always be worth it. So for me, again, I just want to highlight, I'm almost at the end now. So I just want to highlight the leadership part, that please, as we go through these different careers, and I know you will achieve them, that we must always remember that it is always about serving. It is about leaving a positive change wherever you are. Do it as if you're doing it to God. So that is what I would like to leave with all of you. And also make yourself proud, and you'll make your parents automatically proud, because I know the sacrifices that they go through. They stop living so that we can do achieve certain stuff. So go out there and just be great. If I can do it, I'm positive that you can do it too. So that is what I want you to take out of this journey. Thank you so much. I have just shared the last slide to show that, again, I'm not the only one. These are the three, the Harbour Masters, and the one who is wearing a shirt, a Deputy Harbour Master in the port of Ngcuka. So I'm not the only one. There are a lot of Harbour Masters out there that are achieving this. And if you are interested, you can ask for assistance from every port that I know. I have somebody that I know that can assist. Thank you so much. Rachel, over to you.
That was amazing. That was yeah, you saw I was still muted. But that was amazing. Thank you so much, Captain, for sharing that with us. I definitely learned a lot. I think something that really resonated with me was the fact that you took lessons from your childhood, from your roots, and you carried them with you until now. I think that's very important. Sometimes we talk about, going from the bottom to the top and just leaving. No, there are things that we are going through now, that we're experiencing, that are preparing us, equipping us for what is to come, for the challenges to come. I love that you mentioned that we should be serving leaders. So your role as a leader is to be a servant. I really love that. And that it is important for you to learn how to lead yourself before you lead other people, because it reflects, the way you lead yourself reflects in how you lead others. That was beautiful, and I hope that everybody learned something just as I did. If you have any questions, now is the time to post the questions. Raise your hand if you would like to say your question. If you have a comment, post it and we will answer you. I see it was asked which subjects you need to do. Maths and science, that's the answer if anybody's interested. But thank you, that was absolutely amazing. Remember, guys, challenges, they happen for you, not to you, they happen for you. So change the way you look at challenges, change the way you look at failure, don't give up. That was lovely. I see Nomholi says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. Yes, not forgetting our roots. I think that's very important, especially because majority of us here are young. Let's not forget what our parents have taught us, what this platform has taught us, and rather carry it with us as we go, as we grow. Anita has asked, how do you deal with being seasick time and time again? Captain?
Okay, for me, I've had a few occasions, but there are seasick tablets that one can take, and they assist with managing it.
Okay, there's your answer, Anita. Megan, I see your hand is up. You can go ahead.
Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to ask, in the beginning of her presentation when she was telling us about how she studied a lot, she mentioned that sometimes she wouldn't really spend so much time at church because she had to study. I hope I got that right. So I was wondering, because my mom has always told me that it's not always good. My mom has told me that it's not always good to um substitute your lessons before God. So I was wondering, is it good or bad?
Okay, I think maybe that's what I didn't share. For me, growing up, guys, I didn't go to church growing up when I was at home. I have only started going to church when I was at Tech. I don't even know. I would say there was this, I would say maybe the youth from that Proster church that came to our rest, and I liked the songs that they were singing. So that for me, that is how I started going to church. So I wouldn't. I mean, now as an adult, I know that I wouldn't miss my exercise because I'm studying for exams. So I have learned that there are certain, now as an adult, you have your own routine. I mean, as a person now, you are lucky you have a parent like your mother who taught you at a younger age. So for me as an adult now, I know I need to read my Bible. I know I need to do some personal development. I know I need to exercise before I go for something bigger, like before I face my day. So now those are some of the routines that I have learned. And back then, as a new person who's going to church, I wasn't going to go to a church that is going to take me 2 hours because I was still new in faith. So I wanted something that I could, as a young person, like relate to, and hence that church worked for me. And it was just an hour, and I will then continue, go to study, and then come back.
Okay,
I
I
hope
hope
I
you
helped.
answered. Yeah, thank you. Does anybody else have a question or a comment? I have nothing on my side. Well, if that is it, then I'm going to thank you once again, Captain, for taking the time to share your story with us. That was very inspiring. I personally had never heard of too many females in that industry, so it's really great to hear that there's more females in that industry, or in that career path rather. I'm glad to hear that. That was very inspiring, and thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, thank you. It was very fascinating. I really didn't know a whole lot of stuff, but that was great. Thank you so much. So before we close, I'm going to show you guys our poster for this. Oh, Miss Zandi has her hand up. Yes, Miss Zandi.
Thank you so much for taking my question. But I just want to ask, Captain, or my Captain, what keeps you going? What motivates you? What pushes you to go further? What is it about you that says, or have there been moments where you want to give up? And if there have been, what has kept you going? I mean, I heard the first part that failing was not an option for you, that you needed to make it, and for me, that was the highlight. Somebody said earlier on this week that failing is expensive. And I actually, and then the person said, I cannot afford that because failing is too expensive. And I just want to ask, what keeps you going? What makes you to get going if things get hard?
Okay, thanks, Zandi. I think in the beginning, like I'm saying, I've seen my mother struggling as a single mother. And I wanted to bring hope and change things for her. And I think I would say for now, with my siblings, we have managed to do that for her. But over time, they say the why changes. Today, when I look around, when I see another woman or single mother struggling, it's one of those things. When you look around you, when you see how, when you're growing up, you had to just study and find a job. Today, when you look around, a lot of educated people or young people, they cannot find the jobs. And you just realize that the struggle is real, guys, in South Africa. So we all need to work so that we can transform our environment. Wherever you are, if you are a manager and you need to develop other kids so that they can have opportunities and make a difference in their own lives. So for now, I guess I see that there is more to life than just me. And I can see that there is a bigger picture now. So it is one of those things. Yes, I do want my son to live a comfortable life and just enjoy life. I don't want him to choose a career because of money. I want him to live his own life. But I also see that, yeah, it is tough in our own countries, guys. And it is not only wherever you are, you will see the struggle is real. So for me, that is what pushes me. I wish I could do more. I wish I could give more. I wish I could empower people more so that when you empower another human being, they will go and make that change. So I guess the goal then, it'll be faster in a way because it is not only one person who is running with trying to change the world. It's just all of us doing something in our little corners to change our environment, our communities, and ultimately it'll be our countries. And as Mother Teresa said, if you want to keep the country clean, sweep your own yard. And I guess that is what keeps me going. But like you're saying, when I want to give up, guys, I think the Bible is such a beautiful, I would say, story or motivator. They say for Christ, for the joy set before him, he enjoyed the cross. And there's also this scripture that says, in life you will have trial and tribulation, but be of good cheer because I've overcome the world. So for me, that's why I'm saying we need to start looking at our challenges differently because they always shape us and we always come out of it. It's not easy. You need to have, like I'm saying, your own proper support system. You need to try and pick yourself up, but again, your own routines, life. Yeah, you need to, personal development is big, but those are the stuff that I know in this life. I think as kids, we just think life is going to be easier. You will work and then things will be perfect. But when you get older, you just realize it's just a cycle. You go up and down, up and down. Challenges come, become better, you enjoy the reward and you keep going. So it is not necessarily up and down, but it's still going up at the end of the day, that graph. As much as it also has downs, but it is not as down bottom. So it is also always up and down. So overall, when you draw the line, you will see that it was going up. So those are what keeps me going in this thing called life. They say it's beautiful, it's brutal and beautiful. So yeah, it's a journey. It's a beautiful journey. Thank you, Zandi.
Oh wow, I like that. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I just want to highlight though for some of you who may not know Khadi, go look her up. She's on Facebook. She's an athlete. I have watched her journey. I mean, I think we met a few years ago. I think Beauty is still here. I took my nephew for swimming lessons, and she happened to take her son for swimming lessons, and we met a few years ago. And after that, you know, I think we haven't lost contact since. But I've watched her journey of becoming an athlete, the dedication. She's part of the 5 a.m. club. She will wake up in the morning and run cold. And so what she's talking about, she really lives it out. And it's amazing how one aspect of your life will spill over to the other aspects of your life because of her dedication to whatever she puts her mind to. When she got into, you know, the life of, you know, being health conscious, I want to put it like that, being health conscious, she went into it and she's doing her best. I mean, I see her with the team and her people, and she's doing great things. So I just want to say, and I know Rachel is about to close, we honor you. We honor the amazing women who are going ahead, who are trailblazers, you know, amazing people who are saying, it's no more about being first now. I think the Vice President of America also put it quite well. It's no longer about being first. It's now about us working towards developing those who are coming so that we can say, as a Black nation, and I emphasize as a Black nation, as women, you know, as well, because there's still a lot of challenges that we have, that as we are going out there, it's about raising better women, better version of women, better version of young people, that we are going out and we are saying, the world, we will dent the world. You have dented the world. You are rattling the world. You know, it will not be the same again. You know, wherever you are making a mark, and that mark we are recognizing. And so I just want to say, we honor you. We salute you, my captain. If I had my hat on, I would take it off. But please know that we are very honored to have had you, but also to know such an amazing woman as you are. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sandy. And I guess you've spoken for all of us. We are truly grateful. This was very inspiring, very motivating. And I hope that everybody really did take something from this session. Thank you once again, Captain. I don't know how many times I'm gonna say thank you, but thank you. I'm truly grateful. Before we close, I'm going to show you guys our poster for this month. Okay. I hope you can all see. So as you can see, the lineup for this month was all women of different walks of life, different career paths, different industries, different stories. And next week we have Miss Mosana, who is actually a scientist. So you don't want to miss that. If you would like this poster, you can let me know or let Ms. Zandi know, and we can get this poster to you to share with your friends. But you do not want to miss this. It's pretty exciting. There will be more inspirational conversations like this that we're going to be having with some more great women just like our captain here. So you don't share with your friends, and I hope to see this session. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you, Captain, once again. I'm going to ask, who can I ask to pray today?
Ask Mrs.
I'm gonna
Kotela.
ask, okay, I'm gonna ask Mrs. Kotela to pray.
Okay, I was sitting here minding my own business. Thank you. Before I pray, let me also just add, I have been typing Khadi, highly inspiring stuff. In the space where I work in education and development, and I work in science and maths education. And so whenever I see a Black person, a Black woman crushing it in that space, I then have someone to point my young ones to. Thank you so much for today's session. I was really inspired and encouraged. So do not be surprised if more inquiries come your way. to advise along those lines. Anyway, let us pray. Thank you for this session. It has been, as we've said, inspiring. It has been beautiful. It is also, that strong sense of the truth of the statement that you say to us in Jeremiah. I know the plans that I have for you. And we just caught a glimpse here, I'm sure. This is just part of the story and part of the story of your involvement, and her family. And I ask and I pray a blessing over her right now. May she continue to be opening doors. May she continue to trailblaze in the sector where she is. May she continue to stand and represent you among those that she works with, and may she continue to be the inspiration that she is, so that more and more of us, more and more young people can benefit from the work that she does. I pray a blessing over not only her, but the work that she does as well. Thank you, Lord, for TeenVersations, and I pray a blessing over the leader, Uzandi, but over each and every one of the young people and the participants of this session. Or ways to occupy us, way to occupy the young people. But I know in the bigger scheme of the kingdom, these are the building blocks towards our character. These are the building blocks towards us becoming better people, becoming stronger, becoming closer and closer to your ideal for our lives. So, dear Holy Spirit, we ask that whatever we've learned this afternoon, whatever inspiration we've received, that you would seal it and then give us the power to implement, the courage to implement, so that all these conversations do not become to naught, that they don't become just knowledge sessions, that they become knowledge, but also practical things that we can do. Ask all this in your wonderful name. Amen.
Thank you, Mrs. Kotela, for the prayer. Thank you, Captain. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is the end of the session. Before you leave, don't forget to turn your camera on and say hey. But thank you all so much for coming. I hope you were all blessed as I was.
Goodbye, everyone. Oh.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. And their beautiful hair.
Look at me and my hair. I'm just here, and then now I'm going to put you. Thank you, Rachel. You did very well.
Yes.
You did very well.
Thank you.
Got this. She was like in charge.
No, she's
Thank
amazing.
you.
She is an amazing young girl. Like mother, like
Bye,
daughter.
guys.
Like mother, like daughter. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look.
Bye. Bye. All right, Miss Zandi, I'm out. It was a good meeting.
Goodbye. Bye, Rachel. I just took a call now. I'll call you back just now. Bye.
All right.
Thank you. I'm sorry, because it's still frozen.